There are men in their 70s having better sex and more energy than guys in their 50s. The difference isn't genetics, it's not expensive treatments, it's 3 specific vitamins that control everything from how well blood reaches your penis to whether your body can even produce testosterone efficiently. When these are deficient, and they are in over 40% of men over 60, your entire system starts shutting down. When they're optimized, you get your body back. Hi, I'm Dr. Emma Blake, your trusted men's health advisor. I help men improve performance, protect their prostate, and feel their best at any age. And after more than a decade of working with men over 60, I can tell you this. I've seen countless men reclaim the strength, drive, and sexual vitality they thought were lost forever. It doesn't always take a prescription. Sometimes it starts with correcting deficiencies that are surprisingly common and frequently ignored. The reality is, many men don't lack desire. They lack circulation. They lack mitochondrial energy. They lack hormonal support. And the root of those issues is often hidden in their nutritional status. Today I'm walking you through 3 essential vitamins every man over 60 should understand. How they work together to restore erectile health, support testosterone, and revive your natural energy. I'll also cover the common mistakes most men make when trying to fix these deficiencies and how to avoid them. Pay close attention to the end because I'm going to give you the exact dosages, timing, and forms of these vitamins that actually work. Because here's the thing, if you take the wrong form at the wrong time or in the wrong dose, you'll lose most of the benefit and wonder why nothing's changing. Let's start with the one I see most often. The nutrient your body once made easily with sunlight, but now struggles to produce as you age. When levels are low, circulation drops, energy fades, and performance suffers. I'm talking about vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin. But for men, it's the foundation of strength, stamina, and confidence. I hear the same story in my practice almost every week. A man walks in, sharp, disciplined, health conscious, but frustrated. "Doctor," he says, "I still want to be intimate, but my body won't respond." And I tell him this, before we talk about prescriptions, we're going to look at your vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of the most misunderstood and underestimated nutrients when it comes to male vitality. Most men associate it with bone strength or immune health, but in the research, its impact on erectile function is clear and direct. Peer-reviewed studies, including those from the Journal of Sexual Medicine, show that vitamin D plays a central role in how well your blood vessels dilate. This matters because an erection is a vascular event. If your vessels aren't flexible and responsive, blood can't fill the erectile chambers properly. Here's how it works. When vitamin D is low, your body produces less nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule that signals blood vessels to relax and expand. It's how blood gets to the penis in the first place. So if you're low in D, you're likely low in nitric oxide. And without nitric oxide, firm erections become harder to achieve and maintain. In fact, studies show that over 40% of men over 60 are deficient in vitamin D. And that number rises in winter, in men with darker skin, or in those who spend most of their day indoors. What this means clinically is simple. Your vessels aren't functioning optimally, and your sexual performance reflects that. But this goes beyond just erectile function. Low vitamin D has been linked to decreased testosterone levels, reduced muscle strength, poor mood regulation, and even increased cardiovascular disease risk. Your body needs vitamin D to regulate calcium absorption, support immune function, reduce inflammation throughout your entire system, and maintain healthy endothelial cells, the cells lining your blood vessels that control how well blood flows. When those cells aren't functioning properly, you're not just dealing with erectile issues. You're dealing with systemic vascular problems that affect your heart, your brain, your kidneys, everything. But there's good news. Reversing a vitamin D deficiency is one of the easiest things you can do to restore circulation and erectile response. Just 15 to 20 minutes of morning sunlight, eating fatty fish like salmon or mackerel, fortified dairy products, or, if needed, supplementing with high-quality vitamin D3 can restore levels to where they need to be. And when that happens, men report more energy, better mental clarity, firmer erections, improved mood, and even better sleep quality. It's not magic. It's human physiology functioning the way it's supposed to. The key is consistency. Your body doesn't store vitamin D indefinitely, especially as you age. You need regular exposure or supplementation to maintain optimal levels. And optimal isn't just not deficient. It's having levels high enough that all your systems operate at peak efficiency. Most functional medicine practitioners aim for blood levels between 50 and 80 nanograms per milliliter, which is higher than the bare minimum most labs consider acceptable. But circulation is only half the equation. You also need energy to sustain it. That's where our second essential nutrient becomes crucial: vitamin B12. I see it all the time. A man in his 60s or 70s says to me, "Doctor, I'm eating fine. I'm sleeping 8 hours a night, but I still feel drained. My mind's foggy. I don't feel sharp. And honestly, when it's time to be intimate, I just don't have the energy." That's classic vitamin B12 deficiency, and it's one of the most overlooked problems I see in men over 60. B12 is essential for energy production at the cellular level. It's what your body uses to convert food into usable energy, not just for muscles, but for brain function, hormone synthesis, and even sexual performance. You can have a perfect diet and still feel exhausted if you can't convert nutrients efficiently. And that's exactly what happens when B12 is lacking. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that low B12 levels contribute to fatigue, brain fog, and poor physical endurance, even in men with otherwise normal labs. And here's something most men don't realize. B12 is also critical for red blood cell formation, and red blood cells are what carry oxygen to your brain, muscles, and genitals. If you don't have enough healthy red blood cells, your oxygen delivery slows down, and so does everything else. You feel heavy, dull, slow. You're not broken, you're just underpowered. B12 also plays a crucial role in maintaining the myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerves that allows electrical signals to travel efficiently. When B12 is deficient, that protective coating deteriorates, leading to numbness, tingling, coordination problems, and even issues with nerve signals that control erectile function. Your brain might be sending the message, but if the nerves can't transmit it properly, your body won't respond. Now here's where it gets tricky. As we age, our ability to absorb B12 from food drops significantly. Even if you're eating meat, eggs, or dairy, your stomach may not be producing enough intrinsic factor, a compound necessary for B12 absorption. Additionally, many men over 60 are on medications like metformin for diabetes or proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux, and these medications further reduce B12 absorption. In fact, studies show that 30% or more of adults over 60 have some level of B12 malabsorption, even with adequate dietary intake. This is why so many men over 60 report that persistent fatigue, mental fuzziness, or low libido just seems to appear out of nowhere. Often, it's not aging, it's deficiency. The symptoms can be subtle at first. Maybe you're forgetting names more often. Maybe you need an afternoon nap when you never used to. Maybe intimacy feels like too much effort at the end of the day. These aren't necessarily signs that you're getting old. They're often signs that your cells literally don't have the fuel they need to function. Now, before I get to the third vitamin, let me share something that can dramatically amplify the effects of what we're discussing. I've created a free resource called the Men's Libido and Vitality Kitchen, 20 rock-hard erection smoothies. These recipes combine ingredients specifically chosen for supporting nitric oxide production and circulation: watermelon, beets, pomegranate, spinach, dark chocolate. Everything your blood vessels need in one simple daily routine. These smoothies work synergistically with the vitamins we're covering to maximize blood flow and energy. You'll find it linked in the description below, completely free. The solution for B12? For many men, a daily B12 supplement in the form of methylcobalamin, the active bioavailable form, is enough to correct this. For others, especially those with digestive issues, periodic B12 injections under medical supervision may be more effective. Clinical studies show that when B12 levels are restored, men report clearer thinking, better energy, stronger libido, and a renewed sense of vitality. What's particularly interesting is how quickly some men respond. Within days of starting proper B12 supplementation, especially with injections, men often report feeling like a fog has lifted. Their energy returns, their mental sharpness improves, and suddenly, intimacy doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like something they actually want again. But there's still one more piece of the puzzle, and it's a big one. Even if your blood is flowing, even if your energy is coming back, your blood vessels still need protection from oxidative stress, and your hormones still need stability. That's where vitamin E comes in. In my practice, I meet a lot of men who are doing everything right. They exercise, they eat clean, they take care of themselves. But still they tell me, something feels off. My motivation is down. I'm not recovering like I used to. I don't feel like myself anymore. More often than not, these men are missing a critical but underutilized player in male health, vitamin E. Vitamin E is a potent antioxidant. That means it helps protect your body from oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, two of the most damaging silent forces behind age-related decline in circulation, testosterone, and performance. Research from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology shows that oxidative stress contributes to endothelial damage, weakening blood vessel function, and to disruptions in hormone production, especially testosterone. That's right. Chronic low-grade inflammation and oxidation can directly impair the body's ability to make and use testosterone. Think of oxidative stress like rust forming on metal. When free radicals damage your cells faster than your body can repair them, everything starts breaking down. Blood vessel walls become less elastic, hormone-producing cells become less efficient, and even your DNA accumulates damage that accelerates aging. Vitamin E acts as a shield. It keeps blood vessels flexible. It supports healthy circulation. And since erectile function depends almost entirely on strong blood flow, this makes vitamin E one of the unsung heroes of sexual health. But that's not all. Vitamin E also supports Leydig cell function, the cells in your testes responsible for producing testosterone. After age 60, when testosterone naturally drops by about 1 to 2% per year, that protection becomes even more critical. Fertility and sterility studies show that men with sufficient vitamin E levels maintain stronger hormonal profiles and experience better sexual function than those who are deficient. In one study, men who supplemented with vitamin E showed significant improvements in sperm quality and testosterone levels compared to controls. While you might not be worried about fertility at this age, those same mechanisms that protect sperm also protect your overall reproductive health and sexual function. Additionally, vitamin E has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, which is crucial because insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome are major contributors to erectile dysfunction. When your cells respond better to insulin, your entire metabolic system works more efficiently, including the pathways involved in sexual arousal and response. Now here's what most people don't realize. Synthetic vitamin E is not the same as natural vitamin E. Most cheap supplements use only one form, synthetic alpha tocopherol, and that's not enough. You need a blend of tocopherols and tocotrienols to get the full antioxidant and hormonal benefits. Natural food sources like almonds, sunflower seeds, olive oil, and dark leafy greens are great places to start. And when supplementation is needed, go with the natural mixed tocopherol formula, not the synthetic kind. The difference matters more than most people realize. Natural vitamin E is recognized and utilized by your body far more efficiently than synthetic versions. Studies show that natural vitamin E has nearly twice the bioavailability of synthetic forms. So even if the label lists the same dosage, you're getting significantly less actual benefit from synthetic supplements. And here's where things get really interesting. When you optimize vitamin D, B12, and E at the same time, something powerful happens. These three don't just work on their own, they amplify each other. In my clinical experience, the men who see the most dramatic improvements in energy, in libido, in confidence, aren't the ones who fix just one deficiency. It's the men who address all three. Vitamin D, B12, and E don't operate in isolation. They interact with one another to support the entire system of male vitality: blood flow, energy, and hormones. It's a systems-based synergy, not a piecemeal fix. Vitamin D boosts nitric oxide production, opening up your blood vessels. Vitamin B12 ensures that blood is rich in oxygen and delivered efficiently. Vitamin E keeps those vessels healthy and supports your testosterone-producing cells. Together, they create a physiological environment much closer to what you had in your 30s and 40s, not because of artificial stimulation, but because your systems are supported the way nature intended. And the research backs it up. Studies show that men who maintain optimal levels of D, B12, and E perform better in every metric related to energy, sexual function, and aging. Not just one benefit, but a full spectrum improvement in how they feel, think, move, and respond to intimacy. Think about it this way. Vitamin D opens the roads by dilating blood vessels. B12 provides the fuel by ensuring oxygen-rich blood. And vitamin E maintains the roads by protecting against damage and inflammation. When all three are working together, your entire cardiovascular and hormonal system operates at a level you probably haven't experienced in years. So why don't more men experience this? Because most make a few critical mistakes. The first is assuming all vitamins are created equal. They're not. Most store-bought supplements are synthetic, poorly absorbed, and in the wrong form for older adults. For example, B12 is often sold as cyanocobalamin, which your liver has to convert into methylcobalamin before it can be used. That conversion becomes less efficient with age, meaning you're wasting money on a form your body struggles to utilize. Vitamin D2, another common version, is significantly less bioavailable than D3, and synthetic vitamin E lacks the spectrum of tocopherols and tocotrienols your cells actually need. Research in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition makes this clear. Bioavailability, your body's ability to absorb and use a nutrient, is everything. And as you get older, your absorption goes down. So form and quality matter more than ever. You can't afford to waste money on supplements that your body can't even use properly. The second mistake, inconsistency. You can't fix a decades-long deficiency by taking a supplement once in a while. Your body needs daily, steady support to rebuild cellular energy, repair blood vessels, and restore hormonal rhythm. This isn't a one-time boost. It's a long-term investment in how you want to feel moving forward. I've had men come back to me after 3 weeks saying they don't notice any difference. But when I ask about their routine, they've been taking supplements sporadically, missing days, forgetting doses, not pairing them with food for better absorption. Your body doesn't work on a 3-week timeline when you're correcting years of deficiency. It needs consistent, daily support for at least 8 to 12 weeks before you'll see the full benefits. When I work with men over 60, my goal is always to simplify, not complicate their routine. You don't need dozens of pills or a complicated plan. You just need a few high-impact nutrients delivered consistently and in the right form. Here's what I recommend as a baseline protocol. Each morning, take your B12 supplement with a protein-rich breakfast to aid absorption. The form you want is methylcobalamin, not cyanocobalamin. A typical dose is 1,000 to 2,000 micrograms daily, depending on your lab values and symptoms. For men with significant fatigue or absorption issues, your physician may suggest injections, which bypass the digestive system entirely and deliver B12 directly into your bloodstream. Aim to get 15 to 20 minutes of sun exposure in the morning, when UVB rays are strongest and safest. This helps stimulate natural vitamin D production through the skin. Expose your arms, legs, and back if possible. The more skin exposed, the more vitamin D you'll produce. But if you're in a northern climate, it's winter, or you're often indoors, a vitamin D3 supplement of 2,000 to 4,000 IU daily is generally appropriate. One critical thing most men don't know about vitamin D supplementation: you need to pair it with vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form. Here's why this matters. Vitamin D increases calcium absorption in your gut, which is great for bone health. But without K2, that calcium can end up depositing in your arteries instead of your bones, contributing to arterial stiffness and cardiovascular problems. Vitamin K2 activates proteins that direct calcium to the right places, your bones and teeth, while keeping it out of your blood vessels. For men over 60 who are already at higher risk for cardiovascular issues, this isn't optional. When you supplement with D3, make sure you're getting at least 100 to 200 micrograms of K2 MK7 daily. Many quality D3 supplements now include K2 in the same capsule, which makes this simple. Take it with a meal that contains healthy fats, like eggs, avocado, or nuts, because vitamin D is fat-soluble and absorbs much better when paired with dietary fat. Again, your optimal dose should be guided by blood testing. Some men need significantly more, especially if they're starting from severe deficiency. For vitamin E, prioritize real food sources, like almonds, sunflower seeds, olive oil, avocados, and dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard. If you choose to supplement, make sure it's a natural mixed tocopherol formula, not just synthetic alpha tocopherol. A typical dose ranges from 400 to 800 IU daily, and like vitamin D, it should be taken with a meal containing fat for optimal absorption. Always check with your healthcare provider, especially if you're on blood thinners, as vitamin E can have mild anticoagulant effects at higher doses. These three nutrients, taken consistently and in the right forms at the right times, help address the root causes of low energy, poor circulation, and declining sexual performance, not just the symptoms. And research shows that with daily application, most men begin noticing improvements in energy, clarity, and sexual responsiveness within 4 to 8 weeks. Some notice changes sooner: better sleep, improved mood, sharper thinking. But the full restoration of sexual function and energy typically takes 2 to 3 months of consistent supplementation. But what's especially important here is the long-term impact. These nutrients help rebuild foundational systems: your vascular function, your mitochondrial energy, and your hormonal axis. And unlike medications that mask or override your biology, these compounds work with your body, not against it. When your blood vessels are elastic, when your nerves are firing efficiently, and your testosterone is naturally supported, you're not just functioning better, you feel younger, stronger, and more alive. That's what optimal aging really means. It's not about denying that you're getting older. It's about ensuring your body has everything it needs to function at its best, regardless of your age. So if you're over 60 and feeling off, tired, disconnected, unable to perform the way you used to, don't assume it's just aging. Get your B12, vitamin D, and vitamin E levels checked. Start a targeted protocol and give your body a few weeks to respond. Because in my clinical experience, when men take their nutritional foundation seriously, everything else starts improving: energy, mood, sleep, intimacy, and overall confidence. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to have energy. You deserve to enjoy intimacy without worrying whether your body will cooperate. And in many cases, achieving that doesn't require expensive treatments or complicated interventions. It requires giving your body the basic building blocks it's been missing. If this gave you clarity on what's been holding you back, make sure you subscribe to stay updated. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 3 vitamins do you think you're most deficient in? And what symptoms have you been ignoring? I read through comments regularly. Thanks for being here, and take care of yourself.